Yes, guys, you know what time it is. It's your boy David at the Irish Hotspur, Ireland's #1 Spurs fan, bringing you match day live Carabao Cup edition as Tottenham travel to the City ground to take on Nottingham Forest as we look to go deep in yet another Carabao Cup run. Here to get us through up until maybe an hour or so before the game, we've got, of course, co-host Jack and Nicky. We have Mr. Brady, and we also have Kuva Sexy in the house. Jacko, how are you keeping, my man?
Keeping well, Dave. Looking for big redemption today. Looking for a big pick-me-up from Spurs. But also, I feel like it's a very kind of different set of questions today. You kind of, like you said, had to do a lot of research, I think, on this one. But also kind of just different players, different sort of kind of maybe vibes, I think, going into this match. I think still, big expectations from us. But we all know it's going to be maybe some I don't know, some curveballs perhaps thrown by Conte, maybe with the team selection and the tactics and all that. So I'm actually looking forward to this discussion, Dave.
Yeah, no, it should be a good one. There's a lot to get to, a lot to discuss. Exciting. I love these cup days, I absolutely love them. The Godfather, how are you keeping, my man?
Yeah, like Jack, waiting for a redemption today after Sunday, and just very fascinated to know what side we put out tonight. This is really going to be interesting. But I think, no matter what team we put out, we should be too good for Forest.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that. What is it Dermot calls you? Something Sparrow of the Seas or something like that.
Don't talk to me. He put a photograph up of Jack Sparrow with my face superimposed on it, So I told him last night I was out buying a plank and I'll make him walk it next time I see it,
Well, it's good to have you back from your seems like a constant vacation at this stage, but it is great to have you back.
I wish it was. It's not. I wish it was.
And Kuva Sexy, how are you keeping, my man? Big game today. Cup run. We all want trophies around here.
We do want trophies, but is that a priority for the club? I don't think it is. We'll see what sort of lineup we pick. I think both clubs will be prioritising the league for different reasons, but there's still a lot to play for. Would love a trophy. This is doable.
Yeah, 100% it is. 100% it is. We've gone deep in the last few competitions, so I'm excited about today. Hopefully we can get another good cup run, but there is plenty to discuss, mainly on the lineup today. I mean, should Conte go with a strong lineup, knowing what we've seen in previous weeks with some of these fringe players coming in, covering injuries and stuff? Or does he go and give people like Spence, Gil a chance who maybe haven't had a chance yet? So a lot to discuss on the lineups. Also, like Kuva says, is this cup a priority? Well, look, we'll have to have a discussion on that as well. But we are going to welcome in some people. Let's see who's with us now. Let's see who's pumped up and excited for today's game. We have Dermotron in the building. He says, breaking news, the Premier League has started an investigation into 5 Spurs defenders. At this time, it is understood that Santa United are interested. Conte said to be over the moon with this deal. Yeah, look, even Santa wouldn't want them. They're not on any... Well, actually, maybe there's a few Spurs fans they're on the wish list for still, but I think the majority of us have woken up. George Hill says, lads, I'm worried about today. I'll be streaming the match at work, and if I see one more error from these backline idiots, I'm going to lose it at my job. I don't want to be fired over Moonhead. No, don't get fired over Moonhead. I would suggest just walk out. Just hand in your P45 and just write Eric Dyer, capital letters with exclamation points at the end as your resignation. I'm sure they'll understand. In fact, they might actually give you some compassionate leave instead, my man. But big up
Moonhead
Georgie
6
Hill.
days. Moonhead 6 days, maybe, after, any clanger, just tell the boss, just show him the video, and then the boss, just judges, how much time you maybe need to recover.
Being a Spurs fan, it should be in your contract. You should get 20 extra sick days a year, to be honest with you. Georgie Hill also follows up by saying he's caused me enough headaches to last a lifetime, but I'm hoping Gil, Messi and Kulu Sexy can alleviate the stress of watching these peanut brains in our defence struggle to make 5-yard passes. George, I was coming in a good mood. You're bringing it right down to reality right now, lad. Just for 5 minutes, let me stay up here in my delusional land, and then I'll let Coover bring me down a little bit.
George.
But big up, Georgie Hill. Mia W renewing the membership. Big up, Mia W. Really appreciate the support, my love. I keep coming on all of these fan shows and everything else. Big yourself up. Great to see you in with us. We've got Dan Coyce. Dan, I know you go to the home game, so you're travelling up to the game today. Let me know, my man. He says if Jed Spence can't get a start or at least some minutes in a Carabao Cup match against his own club, then he needs to go on loan, needs game time to keep a match fit. 100%. We'll definitely be discussing about that, Danny. We've got Adrian Schrocker says, good afternoon, all. Big up, Adrian. Good to see you. DJ Samuel, great to see you, my man. We've got Spencer. Big up. He says, yo. We've got IrishHotspur says, good afternoon to all the Spurs fans. Hope you're all well. Come on, you Spurs. We're all good, Darth. Great to see you. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Good to see you in the building. Fazrad Far, another one. Are you going to the game today? Let me know. He says, big up, guys. My favorite stream. 3-1 Spurs. Big up, Fazrad Far. Good to see you in the building. We've got John N says, evening, everyone. Come on, you Spurs. 2-0 win. I love the positivity. John. Leah Cooper says, Lee Lancashire Spurs. Good afternoon, everyone. Big up, Lee, my man. Good to see you, and big up Lancashire Spurs as well. We've got Colavius says, good afternoon. Big up, Colavius. We've got Foggy Foam says, good afternoon, everyone. How can the media say Spurs should not play Kane today to save him for the World Cup? Spurs pay his wages. Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, I think Stellini said it yesterday. You know, we don't owe England anything. We worry about what we're doing here, and it's the right approach at the end of the day. The right approach. If the media have problems, but then go and put the pressure on FIFA instead of on Tottenham Hotspur. How about that? How about actually go to the people who make the decisions rather than putting it on the clubs?
I've got a plan for that anyway, David. You just partner Dyer with Maguire. England come home early and Kane's rested, isn't he?
And Kane's rested.
So true. So true. Honestly, it's like buy one, get one free at the flea market for fridges. It's brilliant. We've got Oliver Freeman. Big up, Ollie, listening in the van on the way home from work. Hope you've had a good day working, my man. And hopefully you get to see Jed Spence flying down the wing today. Simon Cohen, great to see you, buddy. I hope you're keeping well, my man. How's life? How's life treating you? Let me know, are you going to any games recently, Simon? We've got Jeannie D says, come on, you Spurs. Big up, David and Jack. We've got Totally Lemon 5 says, good afternoon, lads. Good to see you. We've got Alberto says, oh, Djedi. Absolutely love that. People getting excited. Dave Hamilton says, hi, all. Let's chop down the Forest tonight.
Absolutely,
I mean, look,
right,
I did
Dave.
ask Jack. I did want to. I was saying to Jack, let's go fancy dress today. Let's dress up as some lumberjacks. But Jack said, look, Dave, with the way Tottenham are playing lately, I wouldn't preempt it, you know. I wouldn't test the water. So I said, okay. So Jack had to rein me in, but big up, Davey.
Put the overalls to the side. Put the flannels to the side. We'll put them for the next game, Dave. Yeah.
Maybe I could do it later on in the season when we're at home. We've got a few more people to welcome in, and then we will crack on. Mick Hanscom says, afternoon, Spurs fans. Tonight is our night. I really do hope so. Eddie Parsons says, good evening and big up from Dubai. Well, you are living the life, my man. Hope you're enjoying yourself out there. Tequila 316 says, hope everyone brought an axe tonight. It's time to chop the Forest down. Yeah, honestly, look, Philip said he'll sharpen them all for you. He's got the old sharpener out in the tool shed at the back. So if you just if you need any help, just ring Philip. He'll help you make sure that Forest comes down. We've got Edward Cav 17 says, hope we get to see Spence. Still don't think we will. A lot of people predicting Doherty tonight. Let's see what happens. Wembley once this afternoon, boys. In an ideal world, the likes of Kane, Pierre, Hoiberg, Bentancur, etc. wouldn't be anywhere near even the squad for tonight. The kids would be in instead. But what kids do we have? Where are they? Fair point, my man. I think, look, it's more so we just can't trust the other people you put in and around the kids. Be honest with you, the players you're supposed to rely on. Roy Park says, big up, lads. COVID finally caught me after almost 3 years of dodging it. Win the game for me, Spurs. Man, I hope you're okay, man. And best of luck on your recovery, brother. We've got Joseph. Good afternoon, Joseph. Good to see you. He says, good evening. I like to see this team. Forrester, Tanganga, Langley, Davies, Spence, Skip, Bossuma, Sessi Young. That name hurts my eyes, Joseph. We'll maybe take that one out. Gil, Messi, Kane, Perisic with the likes of Richie, Kulu, and Ben. 10 out of 10 Tancor on the bench. Come on, you Spurs. I love that. Ben out of 10 out of 10 Tancor. That's brilliant. Makes him sound like an octopus with all the tentacles. He plays like one. His legs are everywhere. Big up, Joseph. Absolutely love that. Martin Walton says, afternoon, lads. Desperate for Spence to start today, but looks unlikely. Paul says, afternoon, lads. Hope you're still okay. We're all good, my man. I hope you're was Fernandez in. Only win matters, so even rest. Top guys, Forest should be doable to win. Of course, we've seen after game, Mr. Hindsight style, was it right decision? But look, we'll wait and see. Hopefully we are.
He also says as well, Dave, member for 5 months, Wolves Finland says, Spurs this season, most realistic trophy chase. Maybe
Yeah,
the most,
look,
I think we came into the season thinking, yeah, absolutely, this was the most realistic season for us. I think we're always a bit delusional every season. We usually kind of, convince ourselves in some manner that we can make a run. But definitely this year, you probably found more Spurs fans than ever. Wolves Finland, definitely saying that. Big up.
100%, and I've got it as a talking point. It's actually very, very quickly on after this, so we will get straight into that. Great minds think alike, Wolves Finland. Big yourself up. Aidan Doherty, we need to change that last name. That gives me nightmares. He says, come on, we are back, and so is Philip. Big up, Aidan Doherty. We've got Deontay Manel says, start Spence and Tanganga. I would. Derek Smith says, afternoon, gentlemen. Come on, you Spurs. Big up Ellie's niece Strulis this afternoon. Oh, come on, you Spurs. We've got Trucker Guy says, big up to you, legends. I wish I could watch and tune in for the game. Going out on a night shift today. We'll rewatch the show and the game in the morning. Much love and respect, gents. Come on, you Spurs. Well, my man, big yourself up. Hopefully the night shift goes okay for you. Look, I've done night shifts for a long, long time. Not nice whatsoever. It changes the body clock completely. You more or less find yourself living on the outside of life, to be honest with you, doing night shifts. So I do feel for you, but I hope you enjoy it, my man. At the end of the day, life gives you lemons. You've got to make lemonade out of it. So big yourself up, Trucker Guy. Take a few more comments and we'll crack on. Phil P says, free Jed Spence, justice for Kuva. Yeah, this is Kuva's night of Jedi plays. He says, hi, fellas, looking forward to a straightforward win and calm waters. My arch nemesis has entered the stream.
Shut up to the wrong place, Steve D.
Big up, Stevie D. We're going to take this. We've got three more people to welcome in, and then we're going to crack on. Adrian G says, Conte needs a raise for facing Dyer plus Royale daily. I'm pretty sure he probably wants a new clause in his contract. That's why it's taking so long, to be honest with you. I bet you Daniel Levy's sitting there going, well, I shouldn't have to pay you and their wages. And Contes were like, that's the point, so get rid of them. So I'd say there's probably a bit going on between them over that. But Adrian Chia, this is the problem. We can sit here and blame and moan Conte and everything else, but changing the manager, bringing another guy, you're still going to have the exact same issues. So this is why I say we just need to give it a bit of time under Conte and see where it takes us. But January transfer window is coming up. Hopefully we do a bit in it, my man. Good to see you, and I hope you're up for today's game. You got very hungover after the Champions League game and was sick for a few days. So I hope you are good today, my man.
Let me know the scripts. Adrian. Big up, my man.
Big up. We've got Timmy says, howdy, gents. Come on, you Spurs. Stay in the comp and hope the following round is a home draw. That would be a nice return to Spurs after World Cup, since it would happen before Brentford on Boxing Day. I think Boxing Day is actually our first day back, I believe. I don't think the Carabao Cup fixture will be before. I think it'll be after it, if I'm being honest. I could be wrong, but let me know, Timmy. Let me know. We've got Catman Jess. Good to see you. Says, big up David, Jack, Kuva, and the Godfather, Philip. Come on, you Spurs.
He also says as well, but he's getting ahead of the queue here, Dave. And I know you'll get this information, but he's taken the role of Brian Daigle today for all the Canadians, member for 16 months. And he said EFL Cup is on DAZN for all my fellow Canadian coys. Big up, my man. Big up.
Big up, Catman. Haven't even got there yet, but it's like Daigle texting him, I'm on my way to the City ground there. Will you fill in for me, Catman? Make sure the people know. Big up, Catman. Absolutely love that. Justin Fiaconi says, good afternoon, gents, from Ottawa. Looking forward to hopefully seeing 90 minutes of Skippy today. Look, he has to take his minutes today as well. If he does get them, I'm sure we'll touch on it. But for me, I get he's come back from a long-term injury, but I haven't really been too impressed with what I've seen from him. And at the minute, he's fourth in the pecking order. So if he does get minutes today, he really has to put in a shift, my man. We've got the oxymoron, Slim Boy Tubbs. Big up, lads. Come on, you Spurs. Great to see you. Tom Harris says, big up to all the lads. Great to see you. Vince Vega is in the building. Big up, Vincey. Good to see you, my man. We've also got Top 943. This is 2-0 Spurs tonight. Confident for once, lad. And then we've got Clement. I'm enjoying the show. Big up, Clement. Really appreciate that. But look, I'm going to tell you guys absolutely everything you need to know. And then I'm going to start dishing out questions to this lovely panel to talk all things Carabao Cup tonight. Feel free to smash that like button along the way. Also, that subscribe button along the way if you want. The big push is on for 9K. Let's see if we can get there before Christmas. Ambitious, I know, but it's a Christmas dream of mine. So let's try and make it happen. And also, feel free to keep getting your comments in all the way through the show. We'll try and bring them up as well as much as we go along, even try and include some of them as we go along as well. But if you want to be the dominant one, you want to be dominant like Tottenham, hopefully we'll be at the City Ground tonight, feel free to get it in a super chat. It'll highlight it, and we'll also all have a good discussion on it. As you know, here we'll bring them up. Anyone that wants to say it, we'll let them in, because sometimes you guys make some great points that we miss, and the boys are itching to have a go, and it actually leads to great conversation pieces as well. So feel free to do that. It is a great way to support the channel. But as you know, with you guys tuning in, the part of the deal is we bring up all your comments regardless. So look, I'm going to tell you absolutely everything you need to know. Played a good joke on Jacko today, actually. I'll get onto it now in a second. Stadium, of course, we are away at the City Ground. Nottingham Forest's home pitch. Kickoff is at 7:45 p.m. tonight. It is actually Peter Banks, but I got the giggles last night and I changed the B to a W. So it's now Peter Banks as the referee. It's an absolute classic. It's a classic.
Leave it that way. Leave it that way. Leave it that way.
Screw El Clasico. That is an absolute classic.
I took it by the books there, Philip, when I, was typing it in. I really didn't think much of it. I had the coffee there to the side, was a little bit sleepy and, just didn't even think a minute of it, actually. That's glorious.
They come 9:30 tonight and be very accurate as well, probably.
What a way to start my day. Oh, that is quality. Darren England isn't actually in the VR room either. So basically,
but his ghost will be there.
No, basically, that is my fault. I forgot to take it out. But basically, they didn't say who was in the VAR room. So that's up to anybody's guess who's in that tonight.
They'll probably get someone off the terraces to do it.
Yeah, probably will. And they probably have a Forest jersey, probably have the hat, the scarf, a few pin badges, probably be a full Forest nut, to be honest. The game is not on in the UK and Ireland, unbelievably. But over in the USA, it is on ESPN Plus, and in Canada, it is on the Zone. Now, just some injury updates. Romero is, of course, out tonight along with Sonny, but Sonny's surgery has went well, and it looks like he will be going to the World Cup, which is absolutely brilliant. For Forest, Omar Richards is out, Bianconi is out, Toffolo is out, Niakate is out, and Jack Colback is also out. So that is all the injury news and everything you guys need to know. So let's start kicking in and talking about this game. And look, we'll start with you, Philip. How important is it we get back to winning ways today after our defeat to Liverpool at the weekend to give us a bit of maybe confidence heading into that Leeds game?
Yeah, it's very important to get a win tonight. I mean, we lost 2 in a row there, Man United and Newcastle, and okay, we bounced back against Bournemouth, but no, I mean, this is a cup competition, and we're crying out for a trophy. So while this may be the least of the priorities this season, it's still got to be taken relatively seriously. Because we go out this cup tonight, that's 1 cup less we can win this season. And that really realistically only leaves the FA Cup. So it's kind of, it's important that we put up a side tonight that with changes, there's got to be changes that we can't play the same 11 every week, or else the guys will be carried onto the plane for the World Cup, never mind walk up the steps. So, it's going to be, we'll talk about the changes later on, but it's so important to get a win tonight against a team that we beat with some difficulty, I have to say, earlier in the season. They gave us a good game. But like us tonight, I think they'll make changes because they're struggling badly in the league and they can't afford to injure their first 11. So they'll make changes tonight. So all in all, we should be too strong for them.
And let me ask you, Philip, just maybe worst case possible scenario, if we didn't go through tonight and we didn't get a win versus Leeds at home at the weekend, is Antonio then under serious pressure heading into the World Cup?
No. There are certain fans who think he should be and want him to be, but no. Let's face it, regardless what happens tonight and on Saturday, we're still in the top 4 going into the World Cup. Unless the team below us wins by about 9-0 on Saturday. So, no, it'll be disappointing. We all want to go into the World Cup on a high and take a month off from watching Spurs, knowing that when we come back, we're going to be hopefully better and bigger and stronger with the January window to come. So, no, Conte won't be under pressure. If he was 15th in the league or 16th in the league, yeah, maybe. But how can the manager in the top 4 be under pressure? That's the way I'd ask it.
Yeah. Yeah, look, the media will try and spin something, but I think you're absolutely spot on there, Philip. I don't think he will be. And even if he is, I think we've just got to Conte did try and be honest with us and did try and say, look, it's going to take a few windows, this, that, and the other. So I think we just got to trust his judgment and regardless of what happens over the next couple of games, just get behind them and hopefully get behind the project, like get the frustrations from years gone by, the trophy drought, etc. But for me, at some stage, everyone's going to have to pick a project they want to get behind. And for me, this is the one I am getting behind. But Kuva, we are fourth in the Premier League, and in the last 16 of the Champions League, we have the FA Cup still to go. How far on the list of priorities is the Carabao Cup this season?
I think for the club, it just isn't. It's a distraction almost. I think we're just going to be. The league is just so important now. Long-term future. If we're planning to have Conte stick around, got to get that Champions League position again. And it's going to be harder to get that than ever this season. So I think this is very low down on the priorities. If we don't see a big time rotation in the team, I'll be really surprised. Maybe the likes of Lloris might stick in the team, Basuma, Kane probably, just because of lack of numbers up front, just to give us a little bit of structure. But I think we'll see a lot of fringe players tonight. This cup just doesn't matter to the club. It hasn't for a long time.
Even if it's only, I'll go on. Yeah, feel free.
I disagree. A cup is a cup. We're all crying out for trophies, and this is probably the best opportunity we have of getting one. You think about it. We have a good record in this cup. We get to the final and the semi-final regularly. So I don't think that they're quite dissing it as much as you're saying, Kuva. I think it mightn't be treated as important as the FA Cup or the Champions League, obviously, but they're not going to take this too lightly tonight. And I think we'll see it by the team that goes out. There will be changes, but it'll not be a reserve team, that's for sure.
Scooby, you think they're even going to take it? You think they're not even going to take the gamble of trying to get through tonight, even though we've only got one big game and then we've got the World Cup as a break? You think they're just going to say?
I think they'll go put out a team they think is going to be capable of doing the job, but I don't see them risking big name players instead of putting them in jeopardy for the league match. Just going to want to finish off the this stage of the league season with a win, surely. It's a bit of a toss up. This one could go either way. I don't think any of us can really predict what the lineup's going to be. So we'll have to wait and see in a lot of ways.
I for one would like to see. Hopefully, it is on the priority list. Because Jack, what I would say, considering the last trophy we won was actually the Carabao Cup in 2008. Back then it was called like the Worthing Cup or something like that. Yeah. And with silverware being long overdue, should we actually prioritise it, considering we have someone like Antonio Conte at the helm, that if he gets us to a final, he has to know how to get the job done?
Yeah, he's definitely someone who I think would know how to get the job done. It's more, I think, a question of Antonio Conte's motivation, right? Or if he maybe... let's say, had a lot of motivation, maybe more so than, let's say, previous managers have. Let's be honest. I think it was probably one of the things. I can't criticize Poch for a whole lot, I think, during the beginning of his years, but I think he probably always seemed to kind of not treat the Carabao maybe or whatever, the EFL very seriously. I think really not many managers really have treated it very seriously. In fact, I sort of think, Dave, often we've kind of stumbled our way kind of into those sort of kind of semifinals and kind of even finals to a degree when it comes to this competition. But someone like Antonio Conte, as long as he's, let's say, more motivated or it means more to him, let's say a cup run, then I think he'll probably go for it. And I think he will treat it a lot more seriously. I think it really is more a question of the manager and the question of, his intent and how he kind of, treats the cup. I think once the manager kind of shows any sort of, hint of, relaxation or any sort of hint of, not really treating it too seriously, it probably leaks down to the players then. And then the players don't really treat it too seriously either. So if he shows probably a bit more motivation than previous managers might have, then I imagine then, we can go on a good run here.
Are we maybe being guilty here of prejudging Antonio Conte, though? Maybe that he doesn't want to be in this competition, Jack. Because look, under Pochettino, we can understand it because he just did prioritise Europe and the league. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
But other managers since they come in here, like Jose Mourinho, and I think Conte's of the same look, where they don't look at it as an inconvenience to the season. They look at it as another chance to win a trophy. So with someone like Antonio Conte and the winner he is, do you think he will actually be looking at this and licking his lips and saying, I fancy this. I fancy we can win this.
there's probably more evidence to suggest he'd be more motivated than other managers in this sort of competition. Maybe a bit of pride for him, something that he can sort of maybe point to right away in his sort of Spurs years. He's already kind of had a major achievement and getting us to the round of 16, getting the squad into the Champions League. But if he did want to have something perhaps more tangible to kind of point to, something more physical to maybe point to in terms of, like, let's say some sort of progression or success, a cup run and getting to even, I think, a final, let's say, in a cup, I think would probably do him a lot of good. And I think Antonio Conte, I would personally think, knowing kind of the guy that we probably have gotten to know so far, Dave, might be a bit more competitive and a bit more motivated. I think no matter what competition it may be, even he showed that bit of competitive kind of edge when it came to that game with Jose. I think we all saw that friendly game as like, this isn't going to be treated like a friendly. These guys have way too much pride on the line, way too much ego on the line. And I think Conte, that's kind of one of his, I think, benefits is perhaps he has a lot of ego going into these kind of cup games. And I think that's a good thing. That means he might treat it seriously.
One thing I'll just say about something taking it seriously, you say some managers don't take it seriously. Pep Guardiola and Man City are going for their 5th Carabao Cup in 6 years.
Correct.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So, that speaks volumes,
Yeah, I think the manager, the players, the fans all want to win the trophy, but I think it's low down on the board's priority.
Yeah,
it is. There's no money in this trophy. It's the Champions League. It's all about that.
The board don't pick the team, though. I hope.
Put pressure on the manager, though, can't they?
I don't think Conte will take that, though. Really, some managers would, but I think Conte. That's my department. I'll leave the finances. You leave the team to me. That'd be my response.
That'll be nice.
But when you talk about Pep Guardiola and City going for 5 times out of the last 6, it's a trophy that Pep Guardiola looks at as, look, get the job done. It's the earliest one in the season you can win, and use that as a stumbling block heading into the business end. And it's kind of one that kickstarted his dynasty and his trophy-laden spell at Man City. And I don't see why we shouldn't be treating it the same under Antonio Conte or looking at it that way. But we have a couple of chats to get to, a couple of people I want to welcome in, and then I want to know, is it actually Tottenham's best chance, realistic chance of silverware this season? But Phil P says, are all the best-looking Spurs lads called Phil? Phil, I don't know. You're the only one qualified to answer this name.
No comment.
I'd said very likely.
Big up, Phil. Absolutely love that. You're qualified to answer as well, Phil. Let us know, my man. Let us know. We've got Wolves Finland. I'm not sure if there's a comment there for me. Just give me 1 second. I'll have a look, buddy. He says, can you watch a game in UK at online, or is it the site's restricted? Probably will be able to get it on something online, I would say, but it's just not being broadcasted in the UK on any of the sports channels whatsoever, my man. But I'd say
those VPNs work sometimes those VPNs can help and everything, Finland, but you never know. So, sometimes a buddy, in another country can help you out. Finland. Big up, my man.
Yeah, big up, Wills. Big up. R Green 216. Good evening. Good to see you. Singleton, it's 11:13 a.m. in New York City, and let's go Spurs. Big up, Ruth. We've got Anthony Rose. Great show. Dave from Australia. Big up, everybody that's awake and watching from down under. We've got Human. Hi, David. Big up panel. Got a new one for you, David. Bentencroft. Yeah, it's certainly turning that one. I like that one. I like that. If you have any others, feel free to send them in. Can you smell what the cow is brewing? There you are, Benji. Full voice for you today, brother. Hope you're keeping well and big yourself up, Benji. Big up Stevie Fraser as well. Scott Hynam, great to see you. Vince Vega as well, great to see you, my man. And then we've also got Peter Simons there as well. Good to see you, Peter Simons. Big yourself up. I think I've got absolutely everybody coming in there on the way, joining us. Big up Claude Murphy as well, and big up Connor as well. But look, I'm just going to throw this out, and I presume everyone probably want to have a say on this one. But Spurs have reached at least the Final Four in 3 of the last 4 seasons. So we've reached the semi-final in 3 of the last 4 seasons and reached the final in 2021. Is the Carabao Cup our best chance, our most realistic chance of actually lifting a trophy this season?
I definitely think it is. But what do you think, Kuva? Sorry, you went first.
No problem. Not a lot to really say on that. Just a flat yes. I mean, it's already it comes early in the season. We've still got full steam ahead on going for competitions. It's one of those ones that's always within reach easily. If you just have to string a few games together, get a lucky draw, you're in the final before you know it. You could say the same a little bit with the FA Cup, but there's something about this one because, like you said, with the a lot of the big teams don't see it as a priority, put weakened sides out. It's there for the taking if you really want to. It really is, always has been. But it's going to be City again. That's it's almost their trophy nowadays, isn't it?
Are we afraid of City?
That could be tricky for them. City have got Chelsea.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. And Arsenal could go out as well. They've got Brighton as well. So there's a couple of tasty draws this round that might suit us, Philip.
But you see the way this thing's worked out. I just looked it up there. We're in the round of 32 now, right? So that means with 5 matches to win the cup. There's 6 matches to win the FA Cup, if that replays. But the next round of the cup is on the 20th and 21st of December. It's before the league starts up again. So it means it's 3 days after the FA or the World Cup final. So if any of our players, hopefully on some teams, are still involved in the competition at that end, we're going to have a weakened team by design come the next round should we get through. Okay, if they're all knocked out early, they'll be home anyway. But it's unusual timing to have it, before the actual season kicks off again.
So Timmy was right earlier on. Big up, Timmy. You were correct.
Yeah, 20th, 21st of December.
That's a disgrace.
I think it is the easiest cup to probably, like I said, sort of stumble your way into the semifinal or into the final. There's also, if I'm not mistaken, kind of a huge hiatus between like the semifinal and the final or something like that. Like it's not exactly like a competition where, like the Champions League where you're sort of kind of, starting to play kind of every other week and, a lot of form kind of, I think, goes into it.
I've got the timetable here, Jack. It's round of 16, 20th, 21st December. The quarterfinals, 10th and 11th of January. The semi-final, 25th and 1st of February. And the final, the 26th of February. So
interesting. Maybe I was kind of wrong on that. That feels a bit more close together, actually.
It's closer than it usually is. I think the World Cup has knocked out in the head a wee bit this season,
Yeah, it definitely has. Because if I remember the year when we made to the final, it felt like it was forever between some of those,
Could be another round at least before Christmas. So that would knock 3 weeks off the waiting time, or add 3 weeks to it, I should say, in February. So, no, it is different this year. Definitely.
Philip and Timmy, well researched on that question, Dave.
Yeah, very well researched. To be honest, though, it would be nice to see Spurs
never lies.
It would be nice to see Spurs play before Christmas, though. It'd really make my Christmas. So I actually kind of hope we get through. I really do, to be honest with you, because it'd be nice to have us back. It shortens the waiting time by about a week or so.
That's true. That's true.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. So even more pressure on tonight to get through. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about Antonio Conte's style. Now, there have been moments where, to me, we have hit teams on the counter and look exciting, a.k.a. the end of last season, maybe Leicester this season. But then there's been other games where, look, being honest, that has been a struggle and it's been hard to watch, like United. And it's a bit like when Jose Mourinho was here. Sort of we were getting results at the time, but it was horrible to watch. Are we playing a hybrid at the minute between Mauricio Pochettino's team and Jose's sort of style? Are we playing sort of a hybrid in between? And we'll go to you on this one, Jack.
I'd like to think that it is somewhat more just Conte style, but I could see why someone would kind of make that sort of judgment. Like we are sort of having similar problems to the likes of Jose in the case that certain players like the defense are kind of, starting to crumble, I think in a similar manner to the, days of Jose. I think, like I said, the cycle of Moonhead is very, very oddly, similar, almost lunar. In fact, it's that similar in how he's kind of, I would say kind of just, losing form. You also look at, I think, the way that we sort of seem to maybe fade away in games is sometimes a bit, similar, I think, to kind of some of the Jose days. There is kind of that reliance on sort of the counterattack, which is also slightly similar to Jose. But I think when you actually look at Antonio Conte, though, when you actually just see him in his whole career and you look at his teams in the past, I don't think he's really ever been that similar to Jose. In fact, I always found that to be a very harsh sort of criticism of him, or even kind of an unfair sort of kind of relation, because his Inter side, if I'm not mistaken, Dave, was like either the second or first, highest scoring team in his tenure there. I think even during his Juventus days, they were one of the highest scoring teams throughout Serie A. And that's even, considering the likes of those, Maurizio Sarri, really, high, kind of scoring teams, those Atalanta hipster teams that were going on at the time. And he was still scoring more goals than those guys. So if anything, I think Conte has always had maybe a bit of an unfair sort of tag at being a bit defensive, a bit negative, because I've seen a lot of games, and we've even seen a lot of games from last season where no one was calling him defensive. No one was calling him negative, because we were having some pretty fun counterattacking, free scoring games where we were absolutely tearing teams apart. And I think just what's happening is there are a lot of players, as we know, that are dropping in form, dipping in form, and are starting to really let him down. And I think that's where it starts to become and start to look maybe very similar to Jose. Is some of the way that these players, I think, are kind of falling apart is really similar to the Jose days. And then I think that in turn, Dave, kind of makes Conte kind of look a bit similar to Jose, but I don't think it's his fault.
Yeah, when I look at it, I think we're maybe just a couple of players off of maybe looking a lot better, if I'm being brutally honest. That's a couple of players into the starting 11, let alone getting rid of some of these donkeys out of here and replacing them altogether. But look, I do think we're stuck between sort of both at the minute, and look, it'll be interesting to see what way we go in the transfer window.
Yeah.
But Philip, is the scrutiny Antonio Conte is getting fair? Is it right to tell fans? Is it right? Because basically what I mean is that he told fans, he told the media that it's going to take a couple of transfer windows, which means basically, AK, he needs more quality in here to be able to take that next step. So when he's told us that, is it fair that he's under the scrutiny he's under?
No, it's not really. I mean, it'd be different if he'd have told us, I'll have it all fixed within 2 transfer windows. Then he'd be entitled to be under scrutiny, because he obviously didn't fully he fixed it partially, but hasn't got anywhere near the finished article yet. No, he flagged his intentions early doors, and people seem to have conveniently forgotten that. They're expecting a quick fix, and that's not going to happen. Never does happen. Even look how long it took Alex Ferguson to win his first trophy with United. Klopp with Liverpool, the history is there for managers. They don't often come in and work miracles in 1 year. Like, to be honest, I think what he has done is near to a miracle to get us into the Champions League, where we were when he came in. But it's pretty obvious what we need. We need the wing backs, good wing backs that suit his style of play, and we need a centre back that doesn't fall asleep every 5 minutes. So this is we get those in. I think the second half of the season is going to be a lot different than the first half, because I'm just thinking here, what's happening to this is a thought I was thinking earlier on. You see the players in the squad that aren't going to the World Cup, and there's quite a few of them. What happens there? Does he give them 2 weeks holidays and then bring them back in for training for the last 2 weeks? Or does he keep them going during the whole time of the World Cup?
I believe
personally, I give them a holiday. I give them a holiday so they come back refreshed rather than being overtaken.
He's requested to take them to, I think, some sort of, kind of a warm, kind of more, temperate climate, I believe,
warm weather training. Yeah, see, Chelsea are going to do that. Yeah, okay, that's fine. But I'm just wondering, I think that the boys deserve a bit of time off. We're not playing matches. Let them go off for a week and recharge the batteries, because, they've had so many matches. Look, I did 9 matches in October. No matter how fit you are, that's going to take it out of you.
Maybe
drain
even
your legs.
Conte recharges batteries too.
Yeah, let him go back out to Italy and see the wife now and again, as he's been doing. But no, I don't. I think it's unfair to criticize him. We can criticize him in July if he hasn't done what he said he's going to do. Then we've every reason to criticize him. But I have a feeling that come July, providing he gets the backing that he's been promised, and we hope he gets, that we will be looking at a different animal for Spurs next season. Like, we're never going to win the league this season. That's we're not going to do it. We're going to get a cup, hopefully. But I think next season, with the additions, with the jigsaw complete, when he has his team playing, not Mourinho's, not Pochettino's, not Nuno's, when he has his team playing with his image, I think we will go places. But that will be next season at the earliest.
I couldn't agree more with that. Just on the players, if I was some of the shit players that have put in shit performances, I'd actually be in there working extra hard, to be honest with you, get myself prepared for the second half of the season rather than actually wanting time off. And I think if there's players that don't do that and they've been shit and they do go on holiday and not start working hard, for me, get them out of the football club because they don't want to be here. They're not a winner, and they don't really care that they haven't played well. So for me, I think it'd be very interesting to see who actually does work and who actually does take time off. And the ones that take time off, if they deserve it, fine. But if they don't, I don't want to see them play again. I really don't. We've got to get rid of this mentality out of Tottenham Hotspur altogether. You can't play shit and be rewarded for it. I'm sorry, you just can't.
But surely a week off and 3 weeks back wouldn't kill anybody. You know what I'm saying? Get a week off. Like everyone gets holidays a couple of times a year. Why shouldn't footballers get them? When they're playing so many matches in recent weeks,
Yeah. Look, I'm not saying they shouldn't get it. I just think it comes down to you personally as an individual. If you've played shit and you do go and take them holidays, and it shows me that you don't really want to put things right. You don't really care. You're not in it. You're not 100% in it. Whereas if a player says no, like Session done pre-season, no, he has all the injury problems and went specifically to work on rehabilitating his legs so he wouldn't have the injury problems before we even came back to pre-season. Like Troy Parrott went to a training thing out in Portugal to get himself fit for pre-season so that he would be able to hit the ground running. People like that I like because I think they're taking extra steps to make sure they can be the best they are. If a player's played shit, he's kicking the balls all over the place, and then he's going and taking a week holidays. That guy may as well be on holiday for the rest of the season.
No, it's not, maybe the holiday's the wrong word. Like, I'm trying to recharge the batteries. Lie down on a Sunday somewhere for a few days, and then you still have 3 weeks training before the season starts again. It's not as if they're taking the whole time off. I just don't want the players to be coming back looking exhausted because they've been overtrained during the period when they're not playing matches. And that can't happen.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Anthony Rose says, Dave, how much money's left from the 150 million from the last transfer window? How much do you think Levy will invest in January? I think there's I think Kuva, you're probably more of an expert on the finances. You scrutinise them closer than I do, I think. But I think there's 50 million still to be drawn down out of it. I think maybe 50 million. I could be wrong.
Certainly 50 million that wasn't taken out. That's all we know for sure. The rest of it,
rest of it is whatever they feel like, isn't it? Really, whatever they feel like adding to it, Anthony. So look, we'll have to wait and see, my man. But big yourself up, brother. Kuva, fans are not enjoying watching these first half displays. The last 5 or 6 games we have gone in losing at halftime, and the frustrations could be heard with boos being heard at the halftime whistle. And it's all down to how we are starting the games, really. How important is it that Spurs start on the front foot this match, considering the displeasure Spurs fans have shown recently when the players haven't started well?
I just don't see how you can keep doing it. It puts the pressure on you immediately, especially home games. So an expectant home crowd wants the team to be at it immediately. I think this is one of the few criticisms I do have with Conte.
Yeah,
it's because surely it's part of his job to prepare the team for the match. So those slow starts, perhaps they need some extra treatment. Bucket of ice water and a cattle prod on each of them or something. I don't know. It's just something to get them going because they seem so passive in these first halves so often. You get caught out. Against Liverpool, we're showing exactly what happens. If you do that against a big team, you're not pulling it back, no matter how well we played in the second half. And we were great in the second half against Liverpool. But given the 2-0 lead, they hang on to it. Forest, different kettle of fish, of course, but home advantage, cup game, you don't want to be giving them any sort of room to start cheering back in the team, get a 1-0 lead at half time or something. Nah, let's be at it from the kickoff. It's weird because we've done it occasionally, start and then we'll have a blistering 5 minutes and then suddenly drop off again. So it's really strange, this team. It's happened for a few seasons now as well, but it seems to be more prominent this season than ever. So got to put things right, get that attitude, that second half attitude into the first half. It's if anything, you could forgive them going hell for leather first half, get a lead, and then maybe the foot comes off the accelerator because they're getting fatigued. But with so many substitutes available, there's no excuse.
Do you know what? I actually had a long hard think, Kuva, about why is it we're seeing the first half we're seeing compared to the second half. And I think along the line, there's some sort of miscommunication. And for me, I do think it's on the player side because of quotes I've heard like Matt Doherty say about Jose Mourinho about putting faith in him. He just didn't deliver. And because it's still some of the same numpties I've seen on the previous managers. Now, obviously, when Conte is going into the game, no manager is going to tell you from the minute off, unless it's a specific design tactic where you see teams with a slow start to go gung ho and leave yourself with loads of space. I think he's telling them to go out there, try and play, but not leave themselves exposed and like go out there and play, but remain in the game. And I think them players then are taking it as, okay, let's sit back, keep it solid until half time. And then second half, we'll go out there and try and go for the win. And I don't know what you think. Do you think Conte? Because look, we know Conte is a bit of a cautious manager. We can't be naive not to know enough that he's not going to say everybody just go gung ho, full press, blah 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 blah. There is going to be instructions where it's like, look, try and play, feel your way into the game, go for it, but be cautious at the same time. But I think the players then are taking it as be cautious.
Yeah, I'm sort of with you on that. There's so much pressures on them to do what Conte wants. Perhaps some of the players with weaker mentalities, the pressure gets to them. They're too worried about messing up, getting caught out of position, making a mistake, that they do make the mistakes. They do get themselves caught out of position. They're not relaxed. They're not they're not playing a fun game, if you like. You don't tend to see players with a smile on their face so much nowadays. I've noticed. It really does show. So I think it's nerves, it's a little bit of a lack of ability with some of them, or a lot in some cases. And it just always goes hand in hand to create this very tentative first half approach. It's the only thing I can really use to explain it, because we have to sort of throw the game away a bit before we relax and just think, oh, well, it hasn't worked, better try and fix this. And the response is good, but you just can't keep doing it. As I said earlier, the Liverpool game particularly shows that.
I think so too. And Peter Simon says these first halves of Conte's plan, I reckon, okay until the starts going tits up. Look, of course, when you're losing a game, the only instruction is go for it. But the shackles are completely off you. You can start taking risks you wouldn't normally take. Now, and you can very easily get caught out doing it. But no team can keep that up for 90 minutes. They just can't. And it'd be naive to send your team out in the first half to go and play like that. The reason why we start keeping possession more and everything else is because it's just like, okay, the pressure's off you now. You've got nothing to lose. Just go for it. That's not a tactic. That's just something every manager does when their team's losing. You've got nothing to lose. Just fucking go for it. Try things. But, you know, at the end of the day, I do feel that the players just aren't taking on his game plan. No one can sit there and tell me his tactic is to sit in purely for 45 minutes and just keep kicking the ball back to them. Come on.
This might just be me. This might just be me, but I feel like also there's been some games where it's just been the narrative maybe, or the narrative about the game was maybe just spun a different way simply because of the individual mistakes, and the individual mistakes kind of underdone, you know, the rest of the good work that was done before. It feels like have even begun games quite well. I think Newcastle is another good example of a game where I think Spurs were actually playing kind of quite fine, actually, to a degree, until, again, you know, massive individual mistake sort of, you know, capitulated us. We also saw in the most recent game against Liverpool, massive capitulation from an individual mistake, and or even two, like some people have pointed out, actually two individual mistakes for both the goals. So I think in some games we have absolutely started dreadfully. Don't get me wrong. I think certainly we have, but has it been every game? I think a lot of the games it's actually been sort of also all undone. All the good work that we actually were seeing from the team gets undone by a huge individual error. And you can't always really expect the team to bounce back from a huge individual error. So I don't feel like every game has been a dramatically poor first half. I actually think sometimes the scoreline based off of someone else's mistake makes it look like a dramatically, you know, poor first half. But that's just me, I think.
100%, but also put yourselves in the shoes of some of them players, right? Everyone's played Astro, everyone's played, whether it's out with your mates, whether it's Sunday league, it doesn't matter. Everyone's played the game to some sort of degree. Now, when you naturally don't have the ball, what do you naturally end up doing? Dropping deeper and deeper to protect your goal. That's what you end up naturally doing. And if we keep giving away the ball we do in the first half, that's what you're seeing. Naturally, we're just dropping deeper and deeper and deeper to protect that goal. It's just natural in football. I don't know why. It's just the way it's always been. So I think keeping the ball is a huge problem as well, in my opinion. Like prime example, Newcastle, things going well. Eric Dyer starts feeling comfortable. Balls into the stands, ball straight back to the Newcastle keeper. Players not completing 5-yard passes, and it's. When that happens, you naturally end up sitting deeper because you're just relinquishing all the pressure of the opposition. You're also giving them the momentum. They feel it. Yeah. They start taking more risks. They start sending more bodies forward, which means you're being pushed back further and further and further. That's a mentality issue then. That's not a tactical issue. That then becomes a mentality issue. Problem solving on the pitch. Do we have players to do that? Do we have a leader out there to do that? I'm not so sure right now. But look, good discussion. Anyone interested want to say?
Yeah, I wonder if there's another part to it as well. We don't have a lot of pace in that defence, so they might be worried about pushing up the pitch and leaving the gap between themselves and Hugo.
That's fair.
If
Romero's probably the only one, and Sanchez maybe.
You can get away with it if you're confident your pressing is working well, but we don't press a lot. So
not a lot of athletic defenders.
Yeah, that was certainly a problem there.
That's a good point.
100%. 100%. Godfather, anything you want to say on that before we move on?
Yeah, I think, I don't think it's what's what I'm looking for. I don't think it's intentional the way we play in the first half. I don't think any team could plan to go out and play that badly. I think it's, I think obviously what Contes says at halftime always has an effect, but yeah, I think it's lack of confidence. I think you're right about the pace. The lack of pace there and the gap between the midfield and the defenders. There's a bit of an issue there. That's what I'm saying. We need the new faces coming in those positions to alleviate the problem and get rid of it. That means that we can go out from matches from minute one and go after the other team. I would love Spurs to go in 2-0 up at half time sometime. It would be just so relaxing, to see that. Rather than going in six games on the row, we've gone in losing. No. That's unheard of. That's not just good enough, to be honest with you, But I'm sure we will have the answer in the second half of the season, because somebody said that the Conte is not testing the players. He's using the players sparingly or whatever to keep their energy levels high for the next part of the season. Now, how he can do that with the World Cup coming up in the middle, I don't know, really. I don't see the thinking behind that. But I trust in Conte, and if that's what he's doing and he gets away with it, fair play. But it's the signings in January are going to be the key.
100% key. And maybe to expand to what I was saying as well, the reason why I think all the problems stem from the back is because you have seen it. They start to get comfortable, or sometimes they start to get nervous. And then the ball's shipped on. Then it's the next player being nervous, giving away the ball. Then the midfield end up having to drop deeper to get it, which means the forward line end up having to drop deeper to get it. And it's just a knock-on effect right throughout. And it can't keep continuing. Like, we've pulled back 10 points, the most in the league, from losing positions this season. Yeah. That is not a sustainable way of playing football. That has to change. So the only way it's going to change for me is if you bring in players in the back line that have a steely mentality, that are not afraid to play, that can also defend as well. I just think that's the last area we sort of need upgrading. I think the game's probably past someone like Dyer and Sanchez and Davies by. And what I mean by that is maybe a couple of years ago you would have said good, steely defenders. But now you have to be able to be confident on the ball. You have to be able to ping passes. You have to be able to play. You have to be able to be confident. And they just haven't evolved into that sort of player. So I think when you look at the midfield, we've got Højbjerg, Benjamin can play in tight spaces. They're adding goals and assists to their games. We've got some of the best forward players across Europe. So we improved that back line. Hopefully you will see the benefits from that all the way through, which would be absolutely ideal.
And Mia W agrees, Dave. She's member for 2 months, celebrating Flat Cap member for 2 months. She's been saying, I've been saying this. I think it's the players too, Dave. Pick up Mia.
Yeah. No, big up, Mia. Big up. Sometimes I can have mic drops. I don't know if people think that's a mic drop. I think it is personally. But look, big up, Mia. We've got Adrian Chia says we start passive because players are not confident with our defenders. So our midfield are more cautious to try and protect the numpties behind. And Contes says it's not for front line to be too far. So that's why we end up sitting so deep. Any of you guys want to take this one?
I feel like he's kind of pointing to maybe what you were saying, Dave, about the defenders maybe, not being simply good enough, to sort of, execute maybe the plan in the first half. I actually think a lot of our defenders are actually quite passive when you really look at it. Romero was probably the first time we'd ever really brought in a sort of aggressive like defender that his first step is actually to, go towards his man instead of maybe taking a step backwards in the case of Dyer and Davies, etc. And then when it comes to, I think, the midfield, I think the midfield often just gets blamed for kind of just having kind of numpties, kind of behind them. I really feel like, especially this season, it's becoming harder and harder for people to blame the midfield when the midfield has been basically our best performers, or at least our most consistent performers, especially with the way Bentancur has been kind of uplifting this team. Højbjerg at separate games been lifting up this team. And so I think it just, again, it's been taking a while. But for me, Adrian, more and more and more, I think people are, I think, sort of becoming kind of at least in agreement that the defense is starting to look like maybe the biggest issue of all, because some of our best performers have been kind of in the areas that a lot of people originally kind of thought was the issue. A lot of people thought Højbjerg was the problem. A lot of people thought other areas of the pitch were the real problem. And I think with kind of the way those two guys, especially Pierre and Bentancur especially, has been performing, it's like, no way those guys have been the problem. Also, even in Basuma the last game, I think David put it brilliantly, Adrian, where it's like, can't blame Basuma for losing against Liverpool. The guy had an absolute, one of his best games of the season. And I think that's where we've reached. And if Conte gets just better, I think, like Kuvi even said too, more athletic defenders that can be able to execute that sort of, on the ball ability, be much better on the ball than us, but also maybe be athletic enough to, let's say, push a bit higher, get deeper into the opposition, kind of half. I think we would all be happier. It really does. I think a lot of arrows point towards that defense for sure. Big up, Adrian.
No, big up, Adrian. I definitely think, look, we've invested money in the wing back. Some would say we still need to go again, rightly so. We've done midfield, put some money in the forward areas, which we still need to put more money in. But we also have to try and work on that backline as we fill other areas as well. So this summer window, maybe adding 1 or 2 in January, it's going to be very, very important to keep continuing this going, Adrian Chia. But big yourself up, my man, and I really appreciate the support, brother. Really appreciate it, my man. We've got Shawnee in the building. He says, Kuva looks tanned. He does. Yeah, Kuva, you been on tanning beds?
No. It's just the lighting in this room, perhaps. I haven't got the main light on or anything.
He went to the forbidden outside. He went to the forbidden outside, Sean. He did what we never do. He went outside.
It's more likely to be jaundice than a tan.
Big up, Shawnee, though, my man. Good to see you, brother. Can't wait to have a chat with you and see what your thoughts are on this cup game, my man. Now, where am I? We'll go with Kuva again. Kuva, Conte will want to ensure we go through to the next round of the Carabao Cup. Do you see Conte making wholesale changes to the starting lineup tonight? Or should Conte go for it and then the strongest lineup possible, considering there's only 2 games to the World Cup?
I honestly have no idea. That's kind of one of the exciting bits for me. What is he going to do? Gives us an idea of how important this trophy is going to be for the team. Gives us an idea of Conte's thinking. Or does it show what sort of pressure he's put under from those above, saying it's a low priority thing compared to other issues? The one thing I don't think we're going to do is see him jeopardising the league match afterwards against Leeds. I'll just we'll have to rotate in some sort of way just to make sure people are ready for that game. So could see some big names drop, but he's got to keep enough in there to try and win the game, because he's not going to absolutely throw it away. We're not going to have the C team on almost. It's it's an interesting one for me, but I mean, it's so difficult to call. How many does he rotate? Half the team, maybe. All of it? Nah, surely not.
But even if he does,
full strength team, but I can't see that. Go.
Even if he does rotate, though, Kuva, surely we should still have enough professionals in there to be able to get the job done. Like, for instance, Fraser Forrester in goals. You could still, like, if Sanchez plays, he's an international footballer. He plays for Colombia. You know, whoever else plays with him. If Matt Doherty plays ahead of Jed Spence, you know, he's an international footballer. But also, if you got Jed Spence, he's got a point to prove. In the midfield, it's more than likely going to be Bassoum and Skip. I don't think you'll see Papa Sarr or Harvey White giving a start. I don't think so. So surely, no matter who he plays, okay, you might sprinkle it with the likes of Gil or Spence, but there still should be enough in that team and enough professionalism to get us over the line, no?
You'd think so, but on the other hand, it will be a collection of players that haven't played competitive games in that formation, in that particular selection before. So it puts pressure on because they won't have the same sort of understanding that the first team players have with each other. But on the other hand, Forest are surely doing the same. So for me, it does make it a kind of a flip of a coin thing. Does the quality on show make the difference at the end of the day? Does the home advantage make the difference at the end of the day? It's an away trip. It's in the evening as well. They're not the easiest of games to cope with. I agree, though. We should have the quality to do the job. Whether we do or not, it's another matter.
Yeah, it is another matter. Big up John Stokes. Hopefully we do turn up tonight, my man. Big yourself up. But I do think, regardless, I think it'd be crazy to see Papa Sarr and Harvey White, for instance, in the midfield. Like, anyone that's expecting that, I'm not sure it's going to happen. But if we do put these players out there, or some of the international experienced players that we talk about that are supposed to have that experience, surely they should be able to get a job done. So we can bring off someone like Harvey White off the bench to be able to give him a few minutes. That would be ideal, because down the years, too many times has this happened where guys like Sanchez and that have been rolled out in these sort of games, and we're finding it tough to get any sort of rhythm, play any sort of way well, and the young kids sitting on the bench hoping to get a few minutes do not end up getting them because of these numpties. So, look, I know there's going to be excuses made saying that, oh, well, you know, they're not used to Contes system, they're not playing, blah, blah, blah. But this is half the problem with these guys. If you're given any minutes, you should be looking at it as an opportunity to prove your worth, rather than going out there nervous, oh, what if I make a mistake? I'm going to play safe, this, that, and the other. So they do get put out there tonight. Be interested to see if any of their mentalities has changed from previous years, I would say. But Philip, speaking of strong lineups, we'll start with the goalkeeper. Do you keep Captain Fantastic in there? Who, look, for me, I think it's a perfect excuse to take him out, give him a break, maybe mentally and physically. Or do you keep him in there as the backbone of that back line to give us a chance getting over the line tonight?
No, I mean, I'll bring Foster. Look back a couple of years ago, Joe Hart came in for these games. No, I think it's 100% certain that Forster will play tonight. And I've got a feeling too that Spurs tonight, as Kuba said, we have to make sure we don't lose this game. I'd say the Spurs bench tonight could be ridiculously strong. And I think Harry Kane will be on it. If Richarlison is fit, I think Richarlison will play tonight and Harry Kane will be rested. Let's face it, he hasn't been rested. He's played every game this season, so he needs a break. Can always bring him on if needs be. So I think that the team will be not wholesale changes, but there will be changes in specific positions. I can see Sanchez playing. I can see Tanganga playing. I can see Spence absolutely, hopefully playing, and Papa Sarr possibly. So maybe 4 or 5 changes tonight. But keep it in such a way that if things aren't working out, you have the likes of Son and Basuma and maybe Højbjerg on the bench to come on and redress the balance if we're behind. But definitely Foster has to start tonight. If he doesn't start tonight, he never will.
Yeah, he hasn't played a minute yet. Tonight will be his debut. It'll be his debut. How do you think he'll get on?
I'm confident. I think he's a good player.
He's no Galini anyway, that's for sure. He's a good goalkeeper.
A lot of people have confidence in him. I think before, especially when Hugo, I think, was having maybe more clangers kind of back to back, people were really kind of stepping up for for Hugo, or not for Hugo, sorry. He's a much better goalkeeper than Galini, and that they would trust him in case, the worst happened. And if I'm not mistaken, Dave, I think that was the North London Derby, because we were worried that Hugo might not be available. And a lot of people said, listen, I think, I have faith that Fraser Forster could be kind of thrown into, sort of
Yeah.
a really tough situation. I forget what the phrase is for that, right? But, and be able to handle himself maybe more than previous goalkeepers would. So absolutely. I think, Fraser Forster is probably obviously not the ideal backup goalkeeper to be learning from Hugo, etc. But I think mentality wise, and everything, probably much better than what we've had in the past, and definitely have a lot more faith in. And also just what but other Spurs fans have said to me about him definitely gives me confidence for sure.
Yeah, I think in the summer, I remember saying on this channel, Fraser Forster, when he first went to Southampton, I rated him as the best goalkeeper in the league. He was absolutely outstanding, dominant, great shot stopper.
He had good days.
Everything you'd want. Yeah.
I like that. Also, just wanted to say, I forgot, Dave, but Bobby K as well is just wishing everybody, a big hello. Member for 9 months, Flat Cat member. Big up, David, Jack, Phillip, and Kuva, and all of you. Big up, Bobby K.
Big up, Bobby K. Big up, Little K. And big up, Medium K as well. Big yourselves up. Hopefully you enjoyed the game today. Are you going to the yard? Do let us know. But really appreciate the support, my man. And I really appreciate the T-shirts, actually. I have to send you over a picture of me in it, my man. But big yourself up, brother. Really appreciate it. Colin Turner, he says, I think there is a bit of a fear factor involved. Certain players seem frightened of making a mistake. 100%, but they shouldn't be going out there and playing with any fear. They've got the best job in the world, a job that so many kids worldwide want to be able to go and do. You should be going out there and enjoying yourself. You shouldn't be going out there afraid. Forget the crowd's there. Just go out and enjoy it, man. Got the best job in the world. If you're afraid to play, well, then fuck off out my club, because you're not gonna. You're afraid to play in a normal game. Remember, I hate to see what you're gonna do in the final. So simple as.
It's one of those mentality things that I think exists in everybody, but you feel like as like seasoned professionals who have sort of made it to the top level, you sort of feel like a lot of that would get kind of, I don't know, you chipped away, or sort of like they get hardened a bit more, and that doesn't really come out as much with players, but I guess it does. I guess certain players can still be exceptionally fragile, after a mistake, and can turn into complete shadows of themselves. We've seen it happen to a lot of them, but it's surprising because you kind of think in order to make it to the top, you feel like you kind of do have to sort of, get through that sort of mental barrier, but I don't know, guess not.
Yeah, you should, but when from experience, when you go out and you play scared, you end up playing safe. And then when you play safe, you end up playing your way into trouble. And so that's why you've got to enjoy what you're doing. You've got to go out there. You've got to play with freedom. That's what should be happening, to be honest with you. But look, let's move into that back three then, guys. I'm not going to spend too long on the goalkeepers. There's only so much you can really talk about when it comes to Fraser Forster. But who do you play across that back three tonight, Jack? Do you think Conte will rest some defenders and go with players he hasn't been trusting of late, like a Tanganga, like a Sanchez, or should he go with a strong backline, considering we gave up a lot of chances when we played Forest the last time out, and we had and our backline was not making errors back then?
That's true. Yeah, that's true. The backline was looking more solid, probably, and it's nowhere near as solid as it looked then. That is a good point, actually. It's sort of interesting. Like, how does the Forest crowd feel tonight? Are they really backing them to win this one? Are they going into it a bit toxic, kind of expecting them to kind of give up, expecting them to lose? If, let's say, this Forest crowd are really behind the team tonight, I would then lean towards playing a stronger backline, because I think if we do play the Sanchez's and even the Moonheads right now of the world, I think they will sort of crumble to that sort of pressure. We even know Ben Davies crumbles to that sort of pressure, but we're going to have to play one of them. We all know we don't have a plethora of kind of, I would say, mentally strong center backs to be putting into the team right now. So I actually would lean towards a stronger backline, just in case that Forest crowd is really behind them tonight. Perhaps they're a bit frustrated with recent performances. That would make me want to play a weaker backline, because then in case we get like a goal up, they'll actually be more focused on their own team than trying to, attack us and, try to cause us problems. But I just have a sneaky suspicion, Dave, it can go two ways with these cup games. Either a team that's really bang out of form like Forest, they all of a sudden kind of just look at the cup as a great opportunity to kind of get some confidence back, or they just carry in that horrible form and carry in that horrible, mentality into the game, and then we sort of kind of get to, benefit from it. It's tough, but if the Forest crowd is really behind them, I would lean towards the stronger back line, really, for me. I'm just too worried about, that crowd kind of getting into their heads, because we all know that this back line gets very worried about, kind of a loud crowd and, crowd in their ear.
The Forest crowd is very passionate. It's one of the loudest crowds you can go to.
Exactly.
So,
and I think even despite the horrible games this season that they've played, I've heard they've kind of kept that up. And that's why I'm a bit worried, Philip, is that I've heard despite how poor they've played, that the crowd has really tried to stick behind them, and the crowd has really tried to push them on. And so that really worries me, actually. It makes me think that they won't be, let's say, as negative as another crowd might be at this moment in time.
After 23 years in the Championship, they don't care what happens on the pitch. They're going to be there shouting their heads off, Yeah.
100%. So then let me ask you this then, guys. I think look, we have to strike a balance being able to keep a good spine of this team, but also with one eye on Leeds on the weekend. So if we're picking maybe a leader or an experience or one of our so-called good defenders to slot in here tonight, who do we keep in that back line?
It's going to be Dyer.
He's not dependable. He's not good. I'm talking. Look, it's got to be Langley because Romero's out injured.
I mean, I would agree with you, but I just think it will be Dyer. I think he's he's still the one that they look up to at the back of there, despite the mistakes. We just got crap players back there. That's all it is. I mean, I think Romero will be rested because if there's any doubt about him, they're not going to rest him.
Yeah, he's not playing.
So
let me ask you this too, though. A lot of people are predicting Sanchez, and for me, I actually don't want to see the guy anymore. I think his performance against Bournemouth was absolutely disgraceful. I seen things there against Bournemouth that he done. I wouldn't even see in fucking Sunday League down here. And we play on pitches where there's potholes, there are divots, and you sort of have to try and make up for that by playing a bit of a long ball game. But this guy was taking the piss. This guy's ballooning the ball 50 yards up in the air, running back to our own goal. He's absolutely taking the piss. For me, I would actually just give Tanganga a go. I really would. Or I'd give Tanganga an opportunity. Would you give Tanganga an opportunity over Sanchez today, considering how many opportunities that guy has had?
As good as any. Why not? I think if we're going to do that, just it'll probably be Longley fitting in on the other side.
I hear the guy in the car whose car Sanchez's shot hit against Bournemouth is looking for damages. He put a big dent in the roof of his car.
The guy, honestly, charge him double as well. Go and get the most expensive quote you can get. Tell him you want a new car. Honestly, I don't think we should be rewarding someone like Sanchez with more performances, to be honest with you. I'd much rather give it to someone like Tanganga because although he's got his injury problems, although maybe he's not at the sharpest, at least you know the guy cares. He cares about Tottenham. He's come through the ranks. He wants to be here. I don't think you will see what we've seen from Sanchez over the course of recently anyway, for sure. So I definitely would be looking at maybe starting Tanganga tonight over Sanchez. I don't want to see that clown. I really don't. I'm done with him. I'm absolutely done with that Muppet. But look, let's talk on to more exciting things. Jack, anything you want to say about the back three before we move on?
No, I think I agree with you on Sanchez. He's the only player under Conte, the only guy really that hasn't actually shown any sort of improvement whatsoever, I think, in his time here. And that would make you then think you kind of would just play Tanganga, or you would even bring up like a Pascazzi or a Fagan Walcott or like somebody. Just do that instead. Just somebody who has the chance to improve in a game and learn something from it. Like just Sanchez, you're not going to learn anything or like get any new insight, I think, on Sanchez. You're only just going to be caused further eye torture. Or
THSE Brown has a solution here. What about playing Emerson at right side of centre back?
Maybe that. Just try something different. I just think you're not going to learn anything from playing Sanchez. You really won't. Like you're not going to gain anything from it, and you're not going to learn anything from it. So you might as well either bring somebody up from the under 23s, play Tanganga, or even do that. I think there are a few horrible options to choose from that are nowhere near as horrible as playing Sanchez.
I think of the horrible options available, I think playing Emerson there is one of the horrible ones. It's I see it just like for like, to be honest.
Philip, what about you? Is there a solution for you playing Emerson right side of centre back?
Are we talking solutions or problems here? Because that's a problem. He can't play in his own position, so he can't play in his own position. So I don't think he's going to manage another position. So no. Afraid not.
That's
With respect to him.
Brown. No one's agreeing with you. Bar Jack. Look, I'm not sure he could do it either, but I'm willing to give it a go for sure. But look, let's move on to talking about the right wing back. I think it's what everyone's here to talk about today. And we'll start with you, Philip. Since joining Spurs, Spence has featured for just 3 minutes across 3 substitute appearances in all competitions. Surely, with a return to his former club and it being the Carabao Cup, it's the perfect opportunity to give someone like Jed Spence his full debut.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he came on against him in the league match, I understand, right at the end. So did quite well from what I saw of it. So, yeah, I mean, what an opportunity to play him tonight. I mean, the guy, he's a good player. He just hasn't had the chance to prove it. Whatever Conte thinks of him, surely, he's good enough to play in a Carabao Cup game against his former team. So I'd be very worried if he's not involved tonight. If he's not involved tonight, I don't think he's got a future at Tottenham. And I'm sorry to say that, because I think the guy has got very great potential, but there's something going on in the background there we're not quite sure of, I think,
Yeah.
Then
why do you think we haven't seen then Spence, and why do you think we haven't seen him get given an opportunity? Because honestly, Philip, as David Wright hears, it can't be any worse than what we're seeing right now with some of the other right backs.
Doesn't think he's ready yet. I mean, the system management more or less gave that impression.
Just to add to what Jack is saying, though, but apparently there's loads of reports coming out saying that he's, after the training sessions, he's working on his game, he's doing extra sessions. A lot of people around the club are very happy with the progress he's making and that he's working hard.
Yeah, all the more reason why he plays tonight then. If that's what if he's earning the place, let him have it.
But if all them stories come out, then why do you think he's not playing?
I just don't know. I can't figure it out, because let's face it, if your opposition was Emerson Royale every week, you think he should be playing every week. You think about it, If he's no better than Emerson Royale, what's the problem? Is there something has Conte spotted something in him that he doesn't think he's ready for the matches yet? I just don't know. I'd love him to come on tonight and score the winner with a screamer. That would really, put it up to Conte, put up to Doherty, and put up to Emerson Royale, that you now have real competition for your place.
Yeah,
I think based on the little I saw of him from last season, the only reasons I could see were he didn't seem very aware with the ball sometimes. He was missing some easy passes he could have made and trying something more difficult, and he wasn't necessarily reading the game very well. It could be what Conte's worried about. Because put the ball in his path, get him something to run onto. He looks dynamite. So he's an exciting player. He's really raw.
Yeah,
but he's not just going to be being slid in behind all the time. That's not just going to be part of the game. Like you said, Kuva, part of the game is going to be just keeping possession, making easy passes just to keep things going. And if he maybe struggles with that, we don't know if he struggles with that, of course, but if he does struggle with that, then that is actually going to be something that would make Conte sort of hesitate.
It's not like the guys that were playing, though, Jack, are any better with the passing. They're unpredictable as well.
No, they're both exceptionally shoddy. And also, if anything, I think probably Emerson this season has maybe reverted away from, I think, more of the sideways passing that I think he did last season. I think last season he was an exceptional sort of safe sideways passer in a lot of games. This season, he is actually trying to make more, I think, dynamic, passes, but it ultimately gets, sought out or read or intercepted or whatever, as some people point out. And then I think similar case with Doherty, where they're not actually, I think, really doing a whole lot with the ball. So what would you rather have? Would you rather have a guy like Spence maybe lose the ball, maybe trying to make something happen, and then he might offer a bit more? Or would you rather have, I think, Emerson and Doherty, which I think, let's be honest, they all kind of just choose maybe the safer option lots of times, or they just get it wrong entirely with maybe what they go for. So it's a tough, again, difficult, horrible options again, for Conte.
Ricky says here it might be an attitude thing with Conte, but
that was the original rumor, but we don't know. Yeah.
No, but from the reports I've read, and the Athletic put out an article about it there, it was either yesterday or today or during the week, that apparently his attitude is absolutely spot on. There's no attitude worries at all at Tottenham with this guy. I think under Stephen Warnock put something out there and maybe alluded that with the guy there is. But then he went to Nottingham. Then at Nottingham Forest, he went on to have a brilliant season under Steve Cooper, gone to Championship Team of the Year, got into the England under-21 team. So, Ricky, I don't even think it's an attitude problem either, because from the reports that I've read, they're not concerned about it whatsoever, my man. So
he seems like a very serious guy too. Like from his interviews, like when he first came here, he seemed like a very serious sort of kind of kid as well. Not like a, happy-go-lucky sort of kind of person, or, somebody taking it easy kind of guy. He was exceptionally serious, I think, for someone his age.
Yeah, he seems ambitious, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Apparently,
I'll be honest, didn't have a lot of energy in like the interview. He came off as like a 29-year-old that we had bought, or like someone like with his interview, like someone who'd been like, to 4 different clubs, in his time period. Like he didn't come off as like a, bright-eyed, sort of kind of youngster. He came off as like a bit of a professional, I would say, kind of his interview.
Apparently, he's not too pissed off either with the lack of minutes. Apparently, he understands it and he's happy at Tottenham. So we'll see how true that is, and we'll see if that changes if he doesn't get the nod today. Very, very interesting. But look, guys, if he does get the nod today, and I know this may sound harsh, but sometimes you do only get one opportunity, right? And apparently there is maybe a loan spell looming for him in January that maybe we are looking to put him out on loan for the second half of the season. And for me, I think there'll be a few Premier League clubs that might want to take him in here and take him in and see what he can do. But what does he have to do tonight? Because you would, if you were a youngster right now, you would be looking at saying, yeah, that right wing back position, that is gettable. Rather than looking at the centre midfield, you see it clogged with 4 midfielders, Harry Kane's position clogged, but you look at right wing back, you left wing back as well, Perisic, Sess Young, you've got a Djedi signed, but you look at the right wing back, you say, that's a spot I can get in. So what does he have to deliver on this football pitch today to make Tottenham think, to make Conte think, and go, hang on, and we're going to keep this guy around in January and we're going to use him? What does he have to do to get the manager to trust him?
No clangers. Don't make a bags of things. Don't try and head the ball back to your goalkeeper and use your shoulder instead. Stuff like that. Just get out there, do the basics. Nothing flashy. Keep your man quiet. Go forward when you can. Just don't make an absolute pig's ear of it, and then he'll be. That'll make Conte sit up and take notice. Maybe I can't trust this guy. It's a small start again, a League Cup match against Carabao, against Forest. The real pressure is going to come when he's playing the likes of Man City or United away. Can he cope with the pressure there? But nothing to, while he's going to get a good reception back from the Forest crowd tonight, they're going to be putting him under pressure as well. A lot of pressure. So, can he cope with that? Hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if he does cope with the pressure. Hopefully, like I said earlier on, he goes out there and plays with a bit of freedom tonight, and goes out there and shows them exactly what they're missing. But what I will say, Coovers, a lot of people are actually predicting Matt Doherty will get the nod tonight at right wing back. Why? Does he deserve it? He has already had a number of chances, in my opinion, to prove himself. Can he not play over left wing back, give Sess Young and Perisic a rest?
Well, it could. It's just one of these, like I said at the start of the show, I just cannot pick what the team's going to be tonight. It's I think a lot of us would like to see Jed Spencer coming in. How do we juggle it around? I'd say Perisic is a likely candidate to get rested, at least to come on as a late sub or something if we're in need of a goal. Perhaps it is a case of just, get Sessegnon, Jed Spence in. But Doherty, I think, is at the moment, he's the sort of most reliable out of what we've got in terms of going forward. But, I mean, it's a half a dozen one, 6 of one, half a dozen another. I think it's just terrible fullbacks we got. That's all it is. Why not pick anyone? It doesn't make a lot of difference to me.
Yeah, I'll just be absolutely raging if Spence doesn't get a goal. Like what annoys me is like Emerson has been given chances this season. I think up until maybe the Arsenal sending off, he was actually doing all right. Since then, the wheels have sort of fell off a bit. Look at Doherty. I think the wheels have never been there. If I'm being brutally honest, I think he's been. I don't think he's took his chances either. And it's kind of like, why wouldn't you give Djedi Spencetacular, an opportunity tonight to prove that he can do something different? And for me, I just think it'd be a crying shame not to give him that opportunity before a January transfer window. Look, even if he comes off the bench, I'm still going to be unhappy Because for me, I know what's going to happen with Matt Doherty. His few passes, everything's going to come back inside. Half of them are going to be given away as well. Don't want to see it. We already know what these guys can do. Let's see what Jedi Spencetacular can do. He's got the grip between his teeth. He's going to want the minute. He's going to be chomping at the bit. Let's wind him up and send him out there to see if he can offer us anything different. But that's it on Jedi Spencetacular, unless anyone wants anything else to say.
One thing, there's an interesting quote there, Kulichevsky in the paper yesterday or today, whenever it was, saying how well he gets on and how well he links up with Doherty. So, you know, that's interesting to take that, because let's face it, when Kulu came on in the second half, it was Doherty gave him the pass to feed in Kane. So, like, you know, the two of them do seem to play well together. And if one can spark off the other, I'm not defending Doherty. I'm only saying what, you know, Kulu says about him. And, you know, it's interesting because he seems to have all the fullbacks. He's the one he singled out as being the one he gets on best with.
Yeah, I maybe think he got a brown envelope, if I'm being brutally honest, by Doherty's agent. For me, I just don't see it. I mean, yeah, look, he gave Kulu the pass, but let's be honest, anyone could have given him that pass. I mean, I could have made that pass. Seriously, it's not a hard pass to make. Just give it to him. It's a simple pass. You see me do that 10 times out of 10 if you gave me the chance, Philip. I know you're not defending him. I know you're only repeating what Kulu says. But I'm not falling into this trap of keeping him around. I've
always got the thing in my mind. He's Irish, and I'm rooting for him all the time. You know, I want him to do well, and he has been a disappointment, but I want him to do well.
He's a bit of a socialite, actually.
I've given up on him. I've just given up on him. I've had Stephen Carr, even Stephen Kelly was better than him. I've had the Ginger Pele, who used to play centre back and striker. You know what I mean? I've just given up on Doherty. I really, well and truly have. I really wanted him to work out. I really wanted him to come in here, nail down that spot, and fly the flag for the country. He just hasn't. It's embarrassing.
If he smashes one in from 25 yards tonight, that wouldn't change your opinion, no?
No, I work on consistency. Don't get me wrong. I'll celebrate it and everything else, but I work on consistency. Like one screamer, I'm not going to sit here and say, fuck me, man. Remember that time he hit one in 25 yards in the Carabao Cup game against Forest? And then it's serious. We're sitting in the pub and someone said that to me. I'm like, fantastic. But I also remember the shit show he put up in the North London Derby in a game in the Premier League, where it really matters, and followed up with another shit show against Zagreb 3 days later. So for me, I deal off consistency. I don't deal off in the moment stuff. Don't get me wrong, I do lose control and I enjoy it. But then after that, I come back down to reality and I'm like, okay, so you do have it in your locker. So where's it been the last 2 years, and can you do it going forward? So look, we'll wait and see. I hope he does well, because if he plays well, it means we win. But
sounds like you're keeping a diary on him.
I am. I've every mistake written down, Philip, honestly. Because when I go to my doctors, it's like, David, why is your blood high? Okay, well, in the 71st minute, Eric done this. In the 69th minute, Matt Doherty done this. So then he understands that he can prescribe me the right medication, so I'm not sitting there red-faced all the time.
The doctor will be pulling the brandy out of the bottom drawer for the pair of you listening to that.
Do you know what? I walked in the other day and there was a Spurs fan walking out and he just gave me the nod. I think we're both going in there for a bit of counselling, if I'm being honest. But look, Nottingham Forest have been playing Serge Aurier more often recently, and if he gets the start today for Forest, we as Spurs fans will get the opportunity to see all four of our failed right-back signings over the years in the same stadium. Our last four right-backs brought into the club, Aurier, Doherty, Emerson and Spence, have all had difficulties at Spurs in their own ways. But why is it that Spurs cannot seem to get this position right? We've got it so horribly wrong since Carl
You can't
Walker.
class Spence as a failure yet because he hasn't even played for us.
It's a bit harsh, but it's a bit harsh. But it is brilliant.
He set me up.
It is truly glorious. It is truly glorious, I think, Philip and Coop, that we do get to see all four of our, let's say, I think they've all had problems in their own ways. Let's say Spence for not being liked by Conte, not being played by Conte, Emerson just not being liked by the fans, but being weirdly liked by Conte, Doherty not being liked by Conte, but being liked by the fans. And then you just have Serge Aurier just being Serge Aurier. So I think it's just going to be pretty glorious to see all four of our failed right back signings in front of Levy's eyes and maybe in front of Paratici's eyes as well, looking at even further, work that he has to do later on. But I think it's going to be glorious. But yeah, it's my question today. I put that out on Twitter as well.
I always get nervous when former players play against us. I mean, it was odds on that Marcus Edwards would score against us in the Champions League, and he did. Geez, if Aurier does it tonight, I don't know what I'll do.
Honestly, I don't fear it whatsoever. That guy wouldn't hit a ball straight. Honestly, he wouldn't. The guy would, honestly, he just
Not
wouldn't.
usually, no, not usually,
He
but
would draw a straight line with a ruler, to be honest.
But then we've also got throughout the division, there's like Kyle Walker Peters, Trippier, Ryan Fredericks. How many right backs do we get through at this club?
Wait, doesn't Ryan
they
Fredericks
were
play
all
for
good
Forest?
ones. They were all good ones. I mean, look at them. They're those four that we got rid of. Really, you take any of them back now. Well, maybe not Ryan Fredericks, but you take the other three back.
Yeah. I wouldn't take Serge Aurier back anyway, that's for sure. Hopefully, a lot of Spurs fans get a reminder of why we actually let him go. In fact, it would be keeping in tradition if Serge Aurier could make one of his monumental fuck-ups that he used to make in that position for us tonight. That would be absolutely brilliant. So, Serge Aurier, maybe if you are listening, please continue the tradition.
Arise,
please.
Serge Aurier.
Really appreciate that. And that would be absolutely awesome. But everybody, make sure there's over 300 watching. Make sure you are absolutely smashing that like button. It's something free you can do for us. That really helps us out with the algorithm. Also, smash that subscribe button if you are new. And guys, feel free to put in a membership or not, grab a channel membership or put in a super chat with your thoughts on today's game. Kickoff a few hours away. Excitement is building. Talking about being to the semi-finals, at least 3 of the 4 last occasions in the final in 2021. It is a cup game. It's a trophy that, look, for me, I don't think we can overlook. So feel free to get in your super chat with your thoughts heading into this exciting game tonight. But look, let's move into the midfield. Now, I'm just going to start with Zinedine Salzburg and banter, like that guy so perfectly put it earlier on. Zinedine Salzburg and Bentekers have been in sensational form this season. They have been two of our standout performers this season because of how influential they are. Can we afford to rest both of them without having an impact on our performance tonight? And we'll go to you, Jack.
I kind of want to say that we could this time. Previous games, I'd like to say no, because I thought that Bissouma wasn't really playing well enough to sort of warrant maybe, taking more responsibility. But like Bissouma kind of needed a Bentekers or a Salzburg next to him to maybe help him out a bit. But with how well Bissouma played last game out, can he do it maybe on his own with like a Skip or something next to him? Could be interesting. I'd like to say just for experience, just for mentality, just for leadership, you do probably want a Bentancur or a Salzburg in there. But just to be a bit optimistic, Dave, I think Bissouma did have such a good game last time out that I'm actually more confident than ever than with us doing it. Normally, I would say no, like absolutely not. You have to have one of them out there. But with I think how well Bissouma played last time, I think Skippy is ultimately still a great player, and we know that he can do a job for us. And you could maybe go with like a 3-4-3 or something and perhaps trust Bissouma and Skippy to do it. And that's something that I probably wouldn't have said in other weeks. And that's really just testament to, I think, actually how well the majority of the midfielders I think have been playing recently. I think they're certainly not the problem right now, the midfielders. And so I actually have more confidence in them than maybe I did, previous weeks.
100%. And Cooper, would you agree with Jack then that maybe Yves Bissouma, look, he was absolutely outstanding versus Liverpool. And I've criticised him so far this season, I think rightly so, because he is so far off the player we've seen. But the player I've seen at Liverpool is, for me, the player that, look, we brought in here, the player that many fans thought we were getting when we bought him. I think he's definitely getting back to that. Surely he does deserve the opportunity to build on that performance and build some confidence and maybe be that guy in midfield where you can get a ray of resting Bentancur and Salzburg and seeing what sort of leadership Bissouma has. And who would you put in beside him? Papa Matar or Ollie Skip?
Yeah, I can see both Højbjerg and Bentancur being rested because they just get through so much work each game.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I think they really do need a bit of a breather. Bissouma, I agree. He's disappointed at first, but he is getting game time now, and the Liverpool game was a big improvement for him. I think you've got to show a bit of confidence in him because we know he's a good player. I think he's a good foil for Skippy as well. but they both got an all action sort of style. So I think that gives us enough of an engine room in the midfield without giving up too much of the team. Passing is the bit that's going to be suffering the most, I think, because Bentancur in particular really finding his range nowadays. We'll just have to look for it from different parts of the team, getting the forward balls correct. Maybe it'll be Super Eric at the back doing some long range stuff for you, David.
Yeah, I love Eric, and Eric loves me. I wish he did fucking love me. He wouldn't make them mistakes, to be honest with you.
He did leave.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Basuma, though. I do hope he does keep his position. It would be nice to rest Bentancur and Højbjerg together tonight and not have to use them at all and have them fully fit for that Leeds game, because one thing that Leeds team is fit, and they are relentless. They will press us. So we do need massive shifts out of them at the weekend. So it would be ideal to rest Zinedine Salzburg and Bentancur this tonight. But Philip, Skip has not really been impressive with the minutes he has received so far this season. What does he have to do if given the nod to cause a selection headache? Because as it stands, he is actually fourth in the pecking order, whether we like it or not.
Yeah, I suppose, it's hard to come in after 6 months out injured, wherever he was, and really hit the ground running. So tonight's an ideal opportunity. Like Kuba said, I would rest Bentancur and Højbjerg tonight, because I think we need them more for the Leeds challenge on Saturday. Skip and Basuma in the middle should be more than able to cope with whatever Forest can throw at us. And this could be the game where Skippy can really step up and show what we know. We all know what he's capable of. And it's an ideal opportunity to do that, But I would also just highlight, just moving forward slightly to the Leeds game. I was talking to a mate of mine last night who's a huge Leeds fan, and he was watching their game on Saturday, and he said he cannot still understand how they won that match. He said they were absolutely awful, and he's really worried about what Spurs could do to them on Saturday. So, that's just something to bear about, to think about for the future. But no, I think Skippy tonight now can put down a marker. Like we were talking this time last year about Skippy being an England international. Well, fate intervened there. He got injured and he wasn't able to do that, But the guy still has a great future ahead of him, and his future will be at Tottenham, hopefully. I hope he's not one of these young players that we let go because he just can't get enough game time. Like the much lamented Harry Winks, just had to throw that in. So
he's time out alone, isn't he, Philip?
I think he's back in London now, isn't he? He's not even played out. He's injured. He's not even out in Italy. So, but anyway, but another thing too, if Conte wanted to go 3-5-2 tonight, he could put Papa Matasar in at some stage. I'd love to get a look at that guy. We haven't seen him at all.
Do you think there is a potential he could go 3-5-2 tonight, given...
You just don't know. It depends who's available up front. I would say, to be honest, I would give Harry Kane the night off tonight. And if you've got... If Kulusevski, bring him on as a sub if we need him. But I would have Richarlison up front and maybe use Perisic up there as well. Perisic, who was named in the Croatian World Cup squad today, along with about 400 other itches.
Honestly,
Philip, I tweeted today. It's actually specifically 18 out of 26. Not enough for me, actually. We'll see what Serbia puts out. If Serbia put in more itches, that's a worry for them. That'd be a worry.
Yeah, there'd be an awful lot of calamine lotion going out to Qatar.
Do you see the box of tissues behind Jack? We know what he was at today. It was an itch fest. Jack's annual itch fest every 4 years.
Oh, glorious to see that team sheet. It was glorious to see that squad selection. Beautiful.
Be interested to see if Conte does go 3-5-2 or 3-4-3.
Yeah,
for me, I would like to see us get back to that 3-4-3. No, I really do.
It's just manpower. We got the manpower to do it. That's the thing,
Yeah, that is the biggest thing. That is the biggest thing. But Kuva, do you think Spurs should continue with Kulusevski's comeback from injury by starting him tonight at the City ground? Because Spurs do have to be careful, since it's one we need to get right, and we can't afford to lose him through injury again, because we've seen how important it is. What was it, 80-something seconds? He had an impact, came on and created an assist. So would you rather bring him off the bench, or would you rather start him today?
I'd rather have him started, but sorry, just excuse me 1 minute. I've just got somebody I'm going to deal with.
No,
okay,
no
be right back.
All good.
Yeah, I think he has to come off the bench. I think he has to come off the bench tonight. I don't think he's fit enough to start because he only had a couple of training sessions since he came back from injury. So I'd rather, if needs be tonight, use him. Hopefully not, but then have him fit to start or play a significant role on Saturday. Because we saw how the lift the team got when he came on against Liverpool. 83 seconds. He doesn't mess around.
It's crazy. Do you know what, though, for me, Philip? I don't know what you think of this chat, but I think it's crucial. If we want to get any goals here tonight and we want to get a win, I think it's crucial to play Jack.
Yeah.
I've been impatient to start.
His fitness levels. Is he fit enough to start?
I think he's fit enough.
Let's talk Richarlison was back training and is back ready to go.
Yeah,
I don't know.
He's only had 2 training sessions. Kulusevski would have had more than him.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, all will be revealed in about an hour's time anyway, so we'll see.
Yeah,
absolutely
exciting.
Right. I just think, Dave, for me, I've been impatient. Like, I've just really wanted to have Kulusevski back. We all know the impact this guy has when he comes on, and I knew it wasn't really realistic at all, but I was so impatient that I was actually saying, on the fan show before even that Liverpool game on Friday, I was like, I'd start him if I could, like, just because I know that he has the opportunity to sort of heal and further recover during the World Cup. Since he's not going to the World Cup, it kind of feels like it gives me, if I were Conte, that sort of license to perhaps risk him. But I don't know, like, he knows the injury much better than I do. And also, I think people have said that with a hamstring injury, it's not really one of those injuries that you do just sort of push or kind of, maybe, exactly. You don't want to push somebody on a hamstring injury. So it might be more delicate than I wanted it to be. But I'm kind of like you, Dave. I'm just impatient. I would start him if I could. And even if I had, an opportunity to do so, I think I'd take it. I really, it's just I'm that desperate for Kulusevski. I really am.
So would I. So would I. I mean, I'm desperate to see him. It took Kulu just 83 seconds with his assist for K to show what Tottenham have been missing. What does he bring to the team that we have been missing these past few months?
I think, Dave, though, I think Philip has a call that he has to take, if I'm not mistaken. And that I think we're going to plug to.
Yeah, it's going to take a while, lads. You'll probably be finished by the time I'm back finished.
Yeah.
We will be. Can I give me score prediction? 2-0
Give
to
your
Spurs.
score prediction and plug THFC till I die, my man.
Oh, yeah. 2-0 to Spurs. And THFC till I die. Tomorrow we're doing a favourite Spurs year, which is, I'll not say what year it is, but it's one of the more recent ones. And then next week we'll be doing a continued discussion on the World Cup. Has it lost its magic? It was on last night for a while. It's going to continue. And if anyone has got Netflix, have a look at the new documentary that's up there, FIFA Uncovered. I watched a couple of episodes of it, and it's jaw-dropping stuff.
Is that in the crime section?
It might as well be. Yeah, it might as well be. And Sepp Blatter could be in handcuffs. But it's I've seen 2 of them. There's more to come, but it's well worth watching, especially with the World Cup coming up next week, So
absolutely.
Anyway, listen, we'll see you later, lads, and come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Thanks, Philip.
Really appreciate your time, man. Really appreciate it. Everyone, big up Philip there. Get over to THFC till I die. Check it out and smash that subscribe button. Bakuva, what is it? Look, Kulu, 83 seconds. What an impact. He just showed us what we've all been missing since he's been injured. I mean, what is it exactly when you see this guy? What does he offer to this team that we've been so badly lacking and missing and no one else has been able to offer?
Quality on the right flank. Simple as that for our team. He can pick a pass. He's got an eye for goal. He's got a little bit of a few tricks in his bag to beat a player. He's just got that little hint of genius about him at times. It's that unpredictability and the creativity. He's just oozing it. I'm rapidly becoming one of my favourite players. Him and Bentancur really stepped up since they joined the club. It just offers everything. It's a way to link the struggling defence and midfield at times to the attack. He knows how to put the best players into the right spot to get the goals. If it's not him doing it himself, just what a player.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I absolutely love him. I think he's just unselfish. He can run with the ball. He can do everything. He can pass the ball. He's got vision. He can shoot. He's just trouble. Nick says, if we want to win this game, Kulu needs to start. Nick, 100% couldn't agree more with you. I think if we want to create any chances, I think he's got to start, either him or Gil. One of them have to start tonight if we want to create chances, my man. Yeah. But big yourself up, Nick. Hopefully you're keeping ready. Well, and hopefully you're ready for the game. Hopefully you're not in work today, my man. Big up, Nicholas. But Jack, it could be finally the prophecy of Gil Messi. Could be St. Gil Modric Day, Jacko. Does he finally get a start today?
I've spoken with the oracles of Hill Messi, Dave. I've spoken, with the elders when it comes to Hill Messi's prophecy, and they've said there's a very strong chance of it, Dave. Like a strong chance of rain, like a strong chance of wind, in the day. I think there's a strong chance of Hill Messi perhaps starting today, because especially if maybe a certain Harry Kane is going to be rested, perhaps, a certain Kulusevski doesn't play the whole 90 minutes, you might as well maybe start Hill Messi. Start with Hill Messi. Bring on Kulusevski later, especially if Kulusevski isn't going to start, Dave. I've spoken with the elders. I think there is a very, very strong chance that Hill Messi could be playing today. And honestly, as we know, he is probably going to be shifted out on loan, I think, in January. So it's a bit of also kind of a, an opportunity again for him to sort of impress some teams that are maybe taking an eye on him. I think he's taken every opportunity he's been given this season to sort of kind of show what he can bring. And if he is given, let's say, more than 45 minutes, like, he could actually create something that could be worthwhile for a team to take him out on loan. Because I think what we actually all want as Spurs fans is for him to stay on the island, for him to stay in the UK and be over here and learn more from the league, either be the championship, like you suggested before, Dave. Perhaps he goes up to Scotland, or maybe he gets a loan to maybe a team lower down in the Premier League table. But if he gets a start today, I think it'd actually be weirdly a good chance for him to, let's say, be given the nod or be given some interest from, a team that's actually over here in the UK.
Yeah, this guy gives me a hard on. I think he's got unbelievable technical ability. I think he's got good vision, and I really want to see what he can offer. But Kuva, are you excited as me for Gil Messi,
Definitely not.
member of the Beatles, 8th wonder of the world?
What, Hill?
Yeah, what's that coming over to Gil?
I think he's got talent. I'm definitely not as excited as you are about him.
I might even grow my hair like his.
I think tonight, if we are playing with a sort of rotated team and we're dropping both Højbjerg and Bentancur, we've got a hard-working midfield. We're going to need some sort of a flair attacking players in. Yeah. So could be Hill and Djedi starting maybe. Perhaps Lucas Moura up front instead of Kane. Something along those lines. Yeah, I know, but he has done it before. And if he got Djedi, maybe he'll look better. I mean, one thing Lucas Moura can definitely do is head a football. So
that's
if we can get some decent crosses in, who knows?
That's true.
Yeah, Hill, why not? Throw him in. If we're going to do a patched up team, let him just run riot. Just say the rest of the team work their socks off, hold some shape. Just let them be creative and go for it. Possibly not going to happen. Perhaps he'll be a substitute again. I just don't think Conte really trusts him enough to start.
Yeah, maybe he won't. But if he does, Jack, send some of them tissues my way, my man from Itch Fest, because I need them for Gil Messi Fest, to be honest with you. The 8th wonder of the world. Absolutely can't wait. Hopefully he does play today. I'm convinced this guy's going to be absolutely quality. Now, let's talk about Harry Kane, the big conundrum. What do we do with Harry Kane? Stellini was asked yesterday. Just said, look, we're not here to do England favours. We do what's best for us. But he has started every game for Spurs this season, missing just 14 minutes of action across both the Premier League and the Champions League so far. But like I said, Stellini has said Kane is in contention. But surely, guys, this is a good chance to rest him and make sure he is raring to go for Leeds United at the weekend.
It is. In fact, it actually sort of speaks to how unlucky we've been actually with injuries this season. Because I think if Richarlison, let's say, hadn't had any sort of injury to be recovering from, no way I think Kane would start this game. I think Richie would absolutely be starting up front through the middle. We probably play some 3-4-3 of some kind, or maybe even a 3-5-2. It doesn't really matter. I just don't think Kane would have started this game, because that was kind of the whole point, I think, of bringing in a guy of Richarlison's quality, was sort of to give Kane a bit more allow him to relax more, allow him to either come off the bench instead of starting every game. I think Kane is probably actually wanting to come off the bench maybe and have more of an impact in games instead of having to just play 90 minutes against teams that he probably just shouldn't be. But just sort of speaks to the unlucky situation we've had with injuries. We've actually, for once, after, years and years and years and years of never actually having a quality enough number 9 to really point to actually depend on in case we wanted to rest Harry Kane. And of course, we get a big injury to the guy, when, it's given the opportunity. So if Richarlison is fit enough tonight, Dave, if he is good to go, absolutely, rest Kane. But just sort of speaks to how unlucky we've been. Richarlison's only returning actually from injury, and we don't really know how good he is to go. And he also has that World Cup that he obviously is thinking about too. And maybe a certain Brazil might be very upset if we were to push him, too much today. So it's just a really unlucky situation. So like I said, I don't think Harry Kane would have started at all if Richie was fully fit today.
Yeah, some players are quite good at keeping themselves naturally fit, and sometimes a couple of training sessions all they need to get back into it. But might be the case with him, but you'd have to
Where
think.
do you think Richarlison's at today then, Kuva? Because look, the whole idea of bringing in someone like him, and I know unlucky to injury and whatever else, but even coming back from injury, surely you're playing right. You've got to rest Kane. This is why we brought in players the way some of the players we did in the summer and kept the likes of Gil around and stuff like that. And Lucas is to rest Harry Kane for these games. So ideally, he either has to sit on the bench or he can sit at home and shag the wife or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that is the whole idea of having a squad, isn't it? It's so players can drop in. Richarlison, obviously, if he's fully fit, that's the obvious choice for your centre forward position. But you Lucas Moura, he has, like I said, he has done it before. I'm not a fan of Lucas Moura in any way, but he's capable of doing that if need be. And if he's got the quality of like Djedi and Hill prodding along, see what they can do, might get something out of it. We are only playing Forest. They're probably going to be playing second string team as well. It's a good opportunity to have a look, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's a very good opportunity. Look, I just don't want to keep going the same guys because I know what's going to happen. He might nick a goal and everyone's going to be back up. Oh, Lucas. And then he's going to come out for the rest of the season. He's going to wear trampoline boots again. I just sick of persisting with the same guys. Like, I just want guys' names on the team sheet that excite me tonight. I don't want to see the usual suspects. I just want a bit of excitement. I want Spence. I want Gil Messi. I want Kulu. I want guys that excite me out there tonight.
You want to live a little, Dave.
Yeah. I just look, it's been a tough October. It's been tough the last month and a half. Just give me some excitement today. Just let me forget about the usual problems that we've been talking about for the last 2 years. Let me forget about them and let's give me something fresh tonight. Some excitement, some enthusiasm, and something different I can fucking talk about. That would be absolutely brilliant. But we have come to the end of the show. But before we go, we do want the people to plug themselves. More importantly, we want to know their score predictions. But while we go around the houses, people in the comments, get in the team you want to see this evening, followed by your score prediction. Bakuva, what's your score prediction? Maybe tell us what lineup you want to see tonight, and let's know where we can find you.
Oh, score prediction. Well, let's go with the lineup first. I think big changes, 6 or 7 changes, resting key players. In which case, I have no idea what the lineup's going to be like. I'm going on the theory that Harry Kane probably does start, and we'll try and get a goal or two to see us into the second half. In that case, I'm going for a 2-2 draw. I think.
Well, it has to be decided on penalties. Who's winning on penalties?
We will. We never do anything easy, do we? So
penalty Colchester on penalties.
Let's do the opposite this time. Perhaps this time we go 2-0 up at half time and have a bad second half.
I don't think I could take that either, to be honest with you. I really couldn't.
No, come on, let's go with a 2-1 win. Sod it. What the hell? Harry Kane, if he's playing, a couple of Harry Kane goals before half time, and we sort of cruise out the second half.
Love that. And where can people find you, Kuva?
Shelfside Spurs on Thursday, and Bob Spur TV on Saturday evening. That'll be the main two. Bobby K and I won't be doing a show again this weekend. It's just lots of he's a busy man nowadays. But yeah, that's the main two for me, and then dotted around. I'll be on Savas a little bit earlier this evening as well, doing a sort of a watch along, but doing all the games rather than just concentrating on Spurs.
Geez, best of luck. After that shot, I couldn't watch, to be honest with you. Best of luck.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I'll be all right. But yeah, any channel practically I could be on. That's what it's like.
What I mean by shite, I couldn't watch. I don't mean Savage Channel. I actually like
I
Savage.
know that.
What I mean is the rest of the shit fixtures, by the way, just before anyone tries to start any war or beef between us. I meant the shit fixtures,
Never know,
by the way. But Jacko, what's your ideal starting lineup tonight? What's your score prediction? Where can people find you?
My ideal starting lineup does include a Hill Messi start. I'd actually like to see Kulusevski at the same time. So that actually means left wing Hill Messi, right wing Kulusevski, which could get a lot of creativity, I think. And then we could perhaps go with like a Lucas Moura through the middle, have trampoline boots through the middle. And then you actually have, some wingers that can actually hold on to the ball right next to him, which actually could actually help us out. And also I want to see the 3-4-3. I'm with the bottom Djedi. I really like the 3-4-3 a bit more than 3-5-2. Like you said earlier, Dave, kind of just want to see something different, want to kind of live a little, get away from that 3-5-2 for the time being, see Spence, Longley. I think we're going to have to see Moon Boots, but I actually know I want to see Davies, Longley, Tanganga is my back three for today. I'd like to see Fraser Forster. I'd like to see Perisic actually rolled out at left wing back instead of Sessegnon, what will probably get Sessegnon. So yeah, Dave, that's mine. I'm going to go 3-1. I feel like Forest will score. I could see them scoring. I think they are kind of dreadful. Like at times, like really, I have seen them in games, and like they look really disorganized. But they weirdly do have just decent players still, I think, on that team. So you never know. Like they could just pop up with a good goal that really has nothing to do with the tactics. Just just a good player gets a good chance and he buries it. I think that's been the case for most of their players this season that have scored. They just kind of take advantage of the opportunities they get given. But I don't really think they're actually playing very well at the moment. So I think they could score, but I see us weirdly being kind of quite comfortable because, like I said, they're kind of devoid of confidence at the moment. It looks like for us. So I'm going to say 3-1, maybe 4-1.
Oh, you're feeling it tonight, Jacko.
Feeling it
Must
today.
be the announcements of
I don't know where the goals are coming from, but I'd be surprised if Forest dominated us. Like I said, like they're really not.
You never really get too carried away with your score predictions either. You've really gone for it tonight, Jacko.
I've really gone for it just because I don't really rate Forest very much. But of course, they're just going to have a worldie today now that I just said that.
And where can people find you, Jack?
I have a lot of good. I was supposed to put out my Stevie G video. It is coming out. I kind of just actually did record it, and then I actually had some audio issues, and then that was really, really frustrating. I almost smashed the computer. So, I'm going to take a break from that one, redo it another time. But yeah, have some good World Cup stuff. Going to do some predictions and things like that. Also going to do kind of some transfer related sort of kind of discussions. So I do have a lot of good ideas ready and willing to go. It's just, am I going to put them out there is the question. But just know, everybody, good stuff is in the brain bag right now when it comes to flat cap Euro stuff. Got a lot of good stuff on a list.
And it's nearly your time as well, Jack. Transfer window time. So begin.
Gotta get going here, Davo. Gotta get going.
Something else I've just noticed now as well, because Jack brought it up as well. Lucas Moura starting up top. If you say it enough times, David eventually stops pulling a horrified face.
Oh, it's just. Do you know what? He probably will play today. I'm just gonna have to get used to it. I'm just bored of it. Do you ever just get tired of something? Like, yeah, just bored of it. But do you know what? For me, I'm gonna go with Fraser Forster in goals. I'm going with Djedi Spencetacular at right wing back, Jaffet Manhandler at right sided centre back. I'm going with Longley at centre back, and I'll go with Ben Davies at left sided centre back with Perisic as left wing back. In the midfield, I want to see Basuma and Skip. I would like to give Bentancur and Højbjerg the night off. And up front, I'll go with Kulu on the right, Gil Messi on the left, and yeah, I'll have to just throw Lucas Moura up top. But score prediction, I'm going to go 3-1 tonight. I'm going to go 3-1. I think if Lucas could just stay off the build-up play, leave it to Kulu and Gil in the 3-4-3, Just make runs in behind and just put the ball in the back of the net. I think there's a couple of goals there for him this evening. I think we have enough creativity with Kulu and Gil to be able to create chances tonight. Spencer bombing down one side, Perisic down the other. It's going to be a good night for Tottenham fans if that is the lineup. But look, I apologise for not having a debate throughout yesterday. Just not all of us were. We are Tottenham TV, Sean, myself, and not all of us were around yesterday to be able to put it out. But we've arranged for it Thursday, and then I'll be back next Tuesday, every single Tuesday from there. So thank you for your patience. If you've enjoyed this pre-match match day live, make sure you smash that like button as we end off, and feel free to smash the notification button so every game you get the notification when we go live with this, so you can come in and interact with us on the build-up for the game. Who have we got there, Jacko?
The regular member for 13 months. It's been a good year with you guys. Come on, you Spurs. It's been a very good year with you, the regular. You've been here since the beginning, I feel like. 13 months is sort of, not the fair representation of how long you've been around. Big up, my man. Absolute legend.
Yeah, no, big up the regular. It's been a while. Hopefully life has been treating you well. Hopefully you are good, brother. But it is good to see you back and good to have you back. And hopefully you can join us for the watch along as well, so we can have the crack as well. But guys, we are going to end it there. We will be back at 7:15 for the watch along. As usual, Jacko will kick it off there, and then I'll make my way on, and Shawnee will be with us tonight as well. So you got the three amigos rolled out. Hopefully we've built a good crew for this watch along in terms of people watching, and myself, Jack and Sean. Hopefully we can keep it going tonight. Get your support. Gets behind the lads, and hopefully we can cut down the trees tonight. That forest needs to go. So let's get the job done. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. We trust. Come on, you Spurs.
7.